What's good, guys? You see where I'm at tonight. Change up the scenery a little bit. Typically, we're not in the same location, but we are in the same location tonight for episode 75
What's going on?
of Like Father, Like Son with my pops, Batman, your guy Robin. A lot of topics to get to tonight.
Robin.
Yeah, that's what you.
Keep on believing this nonsense.
That's what he wants y'all to believe. But yeah, so we're gonna let's get started, man. Cause there's a lot to get to. We in here for 30 minutes tonight. A lot of topics. So we kind of have like a list of things we wanted to discuss tonight, and we always put our stuff in order. But I think that tonight we might kind of go out of order a little bit, right? So I feel like out of the topics we have lined up for tonight, that I want to kind of start off with this Dwayne Wade quote, because it's something that you brought to my attention the other day, and I did like a little deeper dive on it. But I just totally and I like Dwayne Wade a lot. I mean, a lot of respect for him. Big fan of Wade when he was playing. I'm a fan of him even off the basketball court. But I just thought that this quote was just I think he's wrong. I totally disagree with it. So this is what Dwayne Wade said, guys. He said, and I think this was after Ja Morant and the Grizzlies beat Golden State.
Right.
I think that's what you're telling me. So this is what he said. We are not going to have a conversation about the GOATs. Now it's going to be the younger generation, and they're going to forget about Jordan like we forgot about Kareem. And I want to repeat that last part. And they're going to forget about Jordan like we forgot about Kareem. That's the part that really stood out to me. Because obviously right now you're going to give a major amount of focus to this young generation of basketball players like the Ja Morants of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. But at the same time, I don't think it's even possible at this particular point to ever, if we talk about 50 years down the line, I don't see my kids, I don't see your grandkids, I don't see any kids from that era in the future not knowing who not knowing who Michael Jordan is, and understanding his greatness. It's mainly, for me, it's mainly because of the advancement of technology. Like when Kareem was playing, he wasn't necessarily playing in the 90s era, or the early 2000s era before we had iPhones and Apple and all, laptops like this, MacBook Pros and things like that. So that's a little bit more understandable to not scroll through social media every day and not see footage of him all the time. But with Michael Jordan, there's footage of him all over the place. Highlights, there's even full games on YouTube and everything. So I just, with how great he was and with the impact that he had and how he changed the game, just kind of like what we're saying with Steph Curry right now. 100 years from now, people going to be talking about Steph because of how this man changed the game.
Right.
I just don't understand how Dwayne Wade could say that with a straight face, man.
Well, I think he's getting caught up with the fact that it is a lot of talented young NBA players out there today. And, hey, the kids are liking them now. But I guarantee you that the jersey sales are still high for people like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, players like that from the past that were great players. The fact that he said that about Kareem, you got to look at it a couple different ways. Number one, Kareem was a center. He was not a guard. He was a bad boy. I remember Kareem. Now, will this young generation know him? Like you said, they probably don't know a lot about him.
Well, does this young generation know him?
Yeah, they've heard of him. He's the number one scorer in the history of basketball. When they see him now, he's pretty old, okay? And sometimes he has some remarks that he shares about some of the star players in the game today, and a lot of people don't take well to that.
Right.
I mean, he's pretty critical sometimes of different players. He's been critical of LeBron, and these young players don't like to hear that because they think that the old school is just trying to slap these young guys' hands when they go out of line and do something that is not, traditionally something that you would see NBA players do. But obviously, he's not right about that because we've seen, and I can remember looking back and seeing guys get into it. I mean, I saw the physicalness, fights break out in games and things of that nature. So, matter of fact, he broke his hand punching that dude in the jaw. Broke the dude's jaw, yeah. And broke his hand, I believe, when he did it. So, sometimes you can forget how you played the game. But Kareem is known for his greatness. He was a Laker. When he was on there with Magic Johnson was a more famous player because he was young. Kareem was on the upside, but they didn't forget about Kareem. Kareem was known for that sky hook, and I still remember the sky hook. And I always bring Kareem up when we haven't discussed.
You do.
You know what I mean? So we haven't forgotten his greatness, but Michael Jordan is a whole nother level.
I was about to say, let's get over
Michael Jordan. Yeah, Michael Jordan, number one, has been known as the GOAT for many years now. Michael Jordan is highly talked about amongst the players of my generation as well as the generation today. Because you see guys that are in the NBA right now. I mean, KD said that Michael Jordan didn't have any weaknesses. Now this is KD, who is arguably one of the best players in the league today. So for you to see that taking place, and they can think back, and like you said, they can look at the video footage and see what type of skill set they had and how they played the game. Hey, I don't think he'll be forgotten. Of all people, he won't be forgotten. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I would say about it.
I mean, honestly, I think what it comes down to is with Kareem, kind of like you were saying, he was a big man, right? And we respect our great players. Like, we respect whether you're a guard or a big, but let's just call a spade a spade. Michael Jordan's game was more sexy, and we're talking about just like looking at a person play, being entertained by them. Just his game had more flavor to it because he was a guard who could do so many different things. With Kareem, people always talk about Kareem in terms of the sky hook, right? A shot that you don't really see these guys using today. So obviously, like you said, he was great at what he did. He was a champion, but it's just totally different when we're talking about sitting down watching a game with Kareem's playing versus watching a guy like a Michael Jordan. And going back to what I was saying in the very beginning, Michael Jordan also came up in a different era. He came to the league in '84, right? But Michael Jordan played up until 2003. He was dominant throughout he was dominant in the later part of the '80s, but he was dominant throughout the '90s. That whole decade was like stamped by Michael Jordan. He put his imprint on it, and then he came back and played with Washington, and still showed you that I can play all-star level basketball even at this particular age. So it's just, to me, it's like apples and oranges. That's why I just don't understand. I'm confused as to how Dwayne Wade can say the same what he said.
When he was playing for the Wizards, he was a part owner, right?
Right.
He was dealing with the business side of the game until things didn't work out like he thought they would, because he was trying to purchase the Wizards, and he chose to play on the team to help build up the ticket sales. So I'll be honest with you and tell you that Michael Jordan, as serious as he is about his game, he wasn't probably in the gym as much as he was back in the days. Although he's the type of person that would be challenging the players on their team to be the best that they can be. And when he was a better representation of the team if he was able to show them, what he wanted to see out of them. And that was that fire. And of course, we know Jordan was a good ball handler, but he wasn't necessarily a point guard. He was mainly a shooting guard. That was his position. Where you got some great players like LeBron James. He can be a shooting guard. He's a better off point guard. And, of course, power forward, I think. Shooting guard, I don't know if I'd call him a shooting guard, because shooting guards usually, a higher percentage.
But in a nutshell, because we're gonna switch gears. But in a nutshell, like I said, Dwayne Wade was a guy who played with LeBron James. Dwayne Wade was a guy who had a shoe deal under the Jordan brand. Dwayne Wade was a guy who was a perimeter basketball player. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I laugh at that quote from Dwayne Wade of all people. Because he knows that that's ridiculous to say that the younger generation at some point in the future is going to forget about Michael Jordan. Like I said, because you're dealing with a mixture of the advancement of technology and just Michael Jordan had a sexy game.
And He has a tennis shoe that is the highest selling tennis
Still
shoe.
today.
Even today, years
Still
later.
today.
You
Right,
got youngsters
right,
like my son. He's
Right.
a young man. Buys Jordans. I mean, these kids are collecting Jordans.
They collecting them more than they collecting LeBrons. And LeBron is like...
For them to be
this nigga's
collecting
like the
Jordans
second
and
one in
not
line.
know anything about Jordan makes no sense, right?
What Dwayne Wade said made no sense, but like switching gears real quick. So I want to talk about Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, right? I actually was gonna at one point wasn't even adding this to the lineup for the night, but my boss was like, "Man, you got to add them to the lineup because of what they did."
They've been
to Golden
talking
State the other
about
night.
it.
But
Well, what they did to him. I mean, what do you mean what they did to him? They beat him.
What you mean what they did? You guys were up by what 18 at one point?
No, they were up by 18.
They were up by 18 at one point.
Can you believe this guy thought that?
Memphis was up by 18 at one point.
Memphis was up by 18. We came back and took like a 5-point lead.
That's true.
And
That's true.
then the coach,
That's true.
Steve Kerr,
What did Steve
decided he didn't know what kind of rotation to put in there that was working. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it. He had a rotation in there that was ticking. I mean, on all cylinders.
Oh,
and
when
then,
they were fighting back into the game.
yeah, when they got back in the game.
Right,
Then
right.
he puts a whole group in there that was not. Matter of fact, they didn't have but one scorer in the lineup at one time.
Right.
And I'm trying to understand what was his thinking there. And I know what he's dealing with right now. What he's dealing with is
What's he dealing
trying to figure out how to rotate 13 guys.
Well, now
in the lineup.
that Clay's back.
Now Clay's back. So my whole thing is,
Right.
you got all these guys, right? You got Andrew Wiggins, Klay, Steph. Draymond didn't play because he's injured, which is a valuable piece to that team.
Right.
Jordan Poole, Gary Payton II, Andre Iguodala.
That alley-oop to Gary Payton.
Oh man,
Crazy.
Otto Porter, Kevon Looney. They should have kept Damian. They should have kept Damian Lee on the sidelines for that game. I'm gonna be honest with you. They could have kept a couple of those other players on the sideline. When you get into a situation like this, you don't want to play more than 10 guys.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He was
Right.
playing like 13 guys in that game, man,
Right.
which was a big mistake.
It messes with the chemistry. I think
That's what I'm
during the course of the
saying.
game.
They were having a hard time getting the chemistry together, and I
Right,
could see it clearly why you would do it in a situation when you get the team to come back. That's
Right.
when you should have stuck with about 8 guys, man, to bring it home and win the game. But
Right.
unfortunately, he didn't do that. And of course, Ja Morant had a great game. His guys had a great game. I mean, don't get me wrong. They don't play defense on Ja Morant the right way because Draymond wasn't in there to stop him from just penetrating in the middle. That's why he was able to get off like that, because I guarantee you, if Draymond was in the middle, he wouldn't have been just going in the middle like that.
Right.
Even though he has the ability to leap and jump out the gym,
Right.
not taking anything away, but that team played well. And I'm happy to see that team finally come together. They got some good pieces. They were shooting the ball well. They don't even have Dylan Brooks back yet.
Right.
Which
right.
he's a good player.
Well,
on that team.
he came back and he just got injured again.
But you know, Tyus Jones
but I mean,
and
But like
Jaren Jackson.
when you look at this, right? When you look at this, so we saw what they did. I don't even want to talk about what they did to my Lakers. I don't even want to discuss that. But we saw what they did to them, and then they came and they defeated you guys, right? But I'm looking at this. So they on a 10-game winning streak right now. They haven't lost since before Christmas.
Right.
But not just a 10-game winning streak. I think what's even more impressive than that, they've won 20 of their last 24 games. So even if you're looking at the standings and you're looking at them and saying, okay, they're a 4th seed,
Right.
they're a 5th seed in the West. You know, they don't really have any business, being up 18 against Golden State, or they're probably still not going to be a favorite to actually, it's not like they're expected to get to the conference finals. But I think that this team is actually showing you that no, we're for real, because they might have started off the season kind of slow. Or kind of even kill, but winning 20 of your last 24 games in the middle of the season,
oh yeah,
that's really impressive. And this team might actually potentially be a major problem down the stretch.
And they're sitting at number 4 right now.
They sitting at number 4. They sitting at number 4, won 20 of their last 24 games. They just beat Golden State. That's a vote of confidence for them.
Right.
I don't know what they've done against Phoenix this year. I got to go and look at that.
Right.
But I think that. And LeBron always says it, man. This is one thing about the NBA. This is a young man's game. And Ja Morant, I think, is under 25. Or I think he's
most of the
25.
guys on that team are in their
Very young
early
team.
20s.
Right,
That's
very
what's
young team.
impressive about them, because the maturity there, and they do have some great players on that team.
Right.
And that is going to be a really strong team if they can keep that core together. They got a big man, that young boy that's a big man.
Right,
He's got some size on him. He's able to keep the ball down.
Absolutely.
So they got a nice group, and they have a little more depth than they used to.
So do you think that this is a team that could give Golden State or Phoenix problems in a series, in a 7-game series?
I don't think so. In a 7-game series, I think they can win 2, but I don't think they'll win more than that.
Okay.
Because the thing is, it's all going to be all about coaching. Because with these teams, you have to be creative when you have superstars on teams.
Right.
And what they've been doing to my man Steph Curry, they've been doubling him as soon as he crosses half court.
They have
decided, man, I'm going to try to slow Steph down and let the other players beat us.
Right.
It's worked on a few games. He had triple-double yesterday. He had 27, 10, and 10. Okay?
Right.
Even having a bad shooting game night again. That's why...
This is like his 3rd straight bad shooting night, right?
About 4.
Or 4 straight, okay.
But my whole thing is this. He always finds a way to do something that's going to positively affect the team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what he was able to do yesterday. And that's why I was kind of bothered that they let that game get away from him, because they should have won that game. When you come back from that deficit and then you have things together, that's the coach's time to bring it home.
Then even when y'all lost
that
lead and you guys fought back and I think cut it to like 2 points with maybe a couple of minutes left, with like a minute and a half.
And I think it was a couple guys that missed some threes, man, that cost us.
No, it was Ja Morant coming down and getting in the lane and getting that bucket to go back up by 4 or 5.
Ja Morant kept coming back. He was setting up guys. When he drives to the basket, those guys catch alley-oops.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about him. This guy can leap so high. It's unbelievable.
Look what our guy Brandon said. He said with Klay coming back, Steph really doesn't have to worry about having a few bad games back to back. No, Brandon, you absolutely right, man. That was like part of our conversations even before Klay came back. My whole thing was, and I said to you before the season, right? Because I thought that Golden State was going to end up being like at least a top 3 or top 4 team in the West. Right. What they're doing is fully exceeding my expectations, but I love seeing it. But even watching Steph Curry have another MVP type of season, my question to you, my question just in general, it was in the beginning of the season, can Steph, sustain, not just Steph, but can Steph and Golden State playing this way, is it sustainable if, Klay comes back and he's like a shell of himself, right? And I think that what we're seeing right now, when you think about the last 4 games, I think any player is due to have some rough nights, especially like you said, when he's like the focal point of attention defensively for teams, and they're constantly doubling this guy, right? But I think that I agree with Brandon, bringing Klay back and him coming back, and he's actually looking pretty good. Like he's got to shake the rust off, but 17 points in his first game back, then 14, on the road in Memphis. I think they give it a couple of weeks. He's going to start to really have some strong games. It's going to take some pressure off of Steph.
And one of the other things I saw in that game, which Ja Morant talked about, their coach had an excellent game plan, because what they did was they were running at the guys when they were in the 3-point zone, and forcing them not to shoot threes. Right. So they were trying to force them to have to shoot the 2-pointer or drive to the basket, which is smart. We've been known to be a good and really a great 3-point shooting team. But you notice when they started running at us, some of our guys were rushing the shot and missing the shot. So that's an adjustment we have to make now if we look at the film. But I definitely have to say that coach did a wonderful job in the game plan for that.
Now, what do you think about what Brandon said here? I like this comparison. He said Ja Morant is a dog. He reminds me of Steve Francis in his prime. Steve Francis is a name that hasn't come up in a long time. Doesn't really get enough credit. But
I remember Steve.
Brandon, I like that.
Yeah, he could jump out the gym too. He could jump out the gym, man.
Steve was a problem.
Yeah. And he could shoot. He could shoot. He dunked the ball, man, on guys like it was nothing.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When Ja was in college, he was really good in college. But I felt like he seemed like even though he was athletic, he seemed like he was still kind of undersized as a guard coming into a grown man's league. Right. So I felt like we were eventually going to see this level of play from Ja, but not this soon. He's pretty much been a problem ever since he came, like right when he came into the league as a rookie. So.
Yeah, he's definitely, surpassed what I thought he was going to be doing at this point. and he is a special talent, and
Right.
it's not too many out there like him. He's definitely a top 5 point guard in the league right now.
Right.
I mean, I think I believe that he is personally, based on his skill set, based on his athletic ability, and what he can do. But I'm gonna tell you something. When a team comes up with a scheme for him and starts to work him and double team him, I guarantee you his legs gonna get tired and he's not gonna be shooting jump shot well. That's all they got to do is focus on.
That's why I said, could he compete with you guys in 7 games?
Oh, we'll figure him out,
right,
and figure out how to play him in a long series.
Other guys gonna have to really step up.
Oh yeah, but defensively they're running a few different guys at him, so sooner or later he will have to wear down. But his other guys were hitting shots when he was passing the ball to.
Right.
And that's the difference right there.
Speaking of Memphis, they played the Lakers the other night, and the game wasn't really anything to talk about, but LeBron and the guy Desmond Bain, that was something that people are still talking about now, and it got chippy during the game.
Right.
And there was like some shoving, and then there was some trash talk back and forth, and it actually kind of inspired you to pose a question to me that you wanted to discuss tonight. And you said, do you think the players challenge LeBron? Do you think that younger players are challenging LeBron now because of his age? Mm-hmm. Like, why do you think that you're seeing more guys kind of step up to him and get in his face or talk trash and all of that now?
Right, because they get tired of hearing that this guy is in his 18th year, right? 19th year, right?
19.
And they hear that and they like, man, he's a bad boy, but he's over the hill. He's old. But then when you see him out on the court, man,
right, all
you can say is, man, this guy, I don't know what he's drinking. Does anybody know what LeBron is drinking? Because this guy continues to stay young.
Right.
He stays out there. He puts in a lot of minutes still.
Right.
He's still jumping out the gym. And he actually is playing some defense. I mean, this guy's blocking shots from behind, running guys down. I mean,
that's something he's always been known to.
But and of course, he's challenging these young guys, man. And if these guys playing with LeBron don't have respect for LeBron, something's wrong with him.
Right.
Because I think that's the main thing. He doesn't want to be disrespected. But guys want to get under his skin. He's going to have to learn how to understand. It's going to be trash.
But that's what he said. But that's what he said to Bang. He said, this is beyond just playing basketball. You talking a lot of trash right now. This is beyond even basketball.
Yeah, well, somebody to talk trash because they had a couple good games. Come on, and the team has got a 10-game winning streak.
I'm with Brandon.
I
love the trash talk. I mean, it's competition, man.
Well, I think trash talking is good. I mean, we did it all the time. Michael Jordan was the biggest trash talker in the game. Most of those players will tell you that. So LeBron got to learn how to handle that.
And the things that he would have been said to him back in y'all's day, the stuff that would have been said. We just watched the video with Kobe. With
Kevin
Garnett talking about.
Did you see what LeBron did after he was in that little trash talking incident?
What?
He got the ball. Did you see him drive down and dunk on the dude? I think he sent a message.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, you got to talk trash. You got to talk.
I mean, listen, we just watched that video with Kevin Garnett talking about the trash talk from when he first came into the league.
Right.
Michael Jordan,
And let me, I want to give you examples of some of what he said. He said,
we need like a Negro, we need a cuss button.
Negro,
we need like a
Negro. I was like, come on, KD. I mean,
he didn't say that. He said something.
Did you know anybody else other than this? This is what we are.
But no, man, listen. I love it. I agree with Brandon. I like it, man, because it's competitive, man. These guys are in the heat of battle. LeBron's teammates with Russell Westbrook. He should know that. That's how Russ is. You in the heat of battle. There's emotions and everything like that. But at the end of the day, let your game do the talking. That's one thing LeBron James can do. Only problem was in that particular game, Bane had a good game, and Memphis they blew.
Well, see, that's what happens. Guys have good games, then they want to talk trash. they talking on the sidelines, but that's when you got other guys on your team that can talk trash back.
Right. I like this right here. Trash talk is an art form. Not everyone can do it. It totally has its place in sports. I'm so glad you said it because that's something that I remember we discussed on this show before. Because this is, by the way, episode 75. So a show a long time ago we talked about this when we were talking about Muhammad Ali and someone like Floyd Mayweather. Both trash talkers. I think they're both good at. I think Muhammad Ali was probably the best.
Yeah, he was the best. At
that art form. I think that Floyd was good too, but it's night and day. In terms of the way that Muhammad Ali could affect you with the trash talk versus some of these guys today. And then you saw what KG said in that video, which I like this too. He was saying that when he came into the league, a lot of the vets taught him that hey, everybody had every opponent you're gonna go up against, they have some type of weakness and loophole mentally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to basically find that and really attack that throughout the course of a game to get it under.
Yeah, he was saying attack their confidence. You know, so they don't have that confidence. And he was saying some of them aren't confident.
Yeah, aren't as confident. He said that he learned from the veterans when he came to the league that you gotta point those players out and you gotta really attack that to try to use it to your advantage.
Because I think, be honest with you, I think thinking about players.
Brandon said I personally think they should be allowed to fight a little bit. That's what you sound like, Charles Barkley. That's what Charles Barkley said.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, all they got to do is have halftime. The dudes that went head to head, take them out there, man, and put them in the ring. Give them a couple, give them some punching, boxing gloves, though.
Right.
But
what you gonna say though, Dan?
Yeah, what I was saying was I had just seen somebody on the game, and I wanted to emphasize one guy that seems like they are allowing. Their confidence level is not where it was last year, and it really bothers me. Dame.
You think that he's showing a lack of confidence with the way he's playing?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really affecting him, man. And I think he's probably feeling a little bad about the fact that he was offered an opportunity to play with the Lakers, and he chose not to. I mean, when you're offered that and you turn it down,
stay reported. That offer wasn't really actually on the table.
But they met with him. That's what the guy said. They met with him. And,
but I don't think Dame's built to want to team up with guys like that.
Well, no, he's built to want to make his money because he's making about $50 million a year. Okay, so why give? How are you going to give that up? He values money more so than a championship right now, and that's what I can see. I guess he figured he can buy a diamond ring and get world champion.
Well, listen, it's not going to. I understand he's loyal, maybe loyal to a fault.
But he's just not playing at that level that I'm used to. Right. And you can see his confidence level is down. And it's like you turn the switch on and it's like, and I know he doesn't have his sidekick. And I think that has something to do with it as well. Yeah.
Right.
You know, your teammates help play a big part in how well you play the game. And I think this is just a little something to share with you guys to show you why Pittman wrote a book. Because he wants to be recognized. He's like, I'm the sidekick that helped you get what you got.
Right.
And the thing is, Michael Jordan never had a problem with it, you know? Everybody needs a sidekick. Nobody can do it by themselves. And even you guys try to say LeBron James won.
Yeah, look at me. Like, I need a sidekick. I mean, I need you to be here, right here, to keep me going.
Because if I wasn't here, y'all wouldn't even
y'all wouldn't
even be tuning in.
Because in this situation, I'm like I'm the Michael Jordan in this. Even though I'm younger than you, I'm the MJ in this scenario. So I need my Robin to kind of to keep me going and keep me motivated.
Okay, I'm
look.
I'm gonna let him get that.
That's moving. Brandon said Dame is in Allen Iverson's position right now as far as his chances to win. He needs to lead. Basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Now where would he go? The question. So what would be a good fit for Dame?
They say New York
or Philly.
They say if either one of those places would be good. I think he could do well in both places. They got a big man. If he wants to go somewhere with a good big man,
right,
I think that's the place to go. If he wants to go and still get paid and have a chance to have a fanfare, but the only problem is if he plays like he's playing right now in New York, they're gonna boo him. Y'all agree? He's gonna get trashed. They're gonna start throwing stuff on the
No, they can't disrespect Dame in that way, man. But no, I listen. I just think that it's no offense to Portland. He's trying to be loyal, but this is the NBA. It's a business. I'm not saying he needs to go and team up and join a super team. But I just think that that experiment in Portland, whatever it was, it just didn't. It didn't work with him and LaMarcus Aldridge. It's not working with him and CJ. I just think it's time to just blow the thing up, and it would be nice to see him on a team where he can really try to compete for a title. I'm not saying team up with LeBron, but
I guess he's got to demand a trade because what's his contract? Didn't he just renew a contract?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought he did.
I gotta go back and look at the specifics.
And I guess even with him having a contract renewed, I guess he still can negotiate if he wants to get out. But they would have to take on that salary, which is going to be a pretty big one.
Right now, Dad. The last question I want to topic I want to address tonight, right? Mm-hmm. Is the poll results from the question we put out on social media last week. They got some responses. Gotcha. What was LeBron's most impressive season? That was a question we populated on social last week. What was LeBron's most impressive season? It kind of was inspired by a debate that myself you and Kobe got into, but here were some of the responses. Someone said they thought his 2012, 2013 season, I think that was his second year in Miami, was his best year, most impressive year. Briscoe said his 2018 season, no question. And that's what I agree with, because his 2008 season was his last year with the Cavs. It was when Kyrie had left, right? And he did not have the same level of help, but he was still able to kind of help carry that squad or lead that squad to the finals. Dropped 51 against you guys in game one. They went on to get swept, obviously. But I thought that was one of LeBron's biggest challenges. And I thought that he answered the call for the most part, which is why I was very impressive. And then you had some people say, 2016 season when they beat Golden State. Someone said the 2009, 2010 season. You had some people say LeBron's most impressive years were in Miami. I know Elvis said that.
They were really popular for me.
What did you say? Give me one season. Don't take the easy route. Give me.
Well, I gave you one season. I told you the 2016 season when they beat the, my team.
And you thought that was LeBron's most impressive year, mainly because they went on to win the chip that year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly that, because to beat our team,
right.
That had to be a major step for him to get that done, and he was the driving force to make that happen for it. Even though the referees helped, because that's when Draymond got.
You always want to go back to this.
Well,
man.
Draymond, man, I mean, they shouldn't have done that to him, man. They kind of threw him out and didn't allow him to play in Game 5.
Right.
We were up 3-1. I mean, come on, we were getting ready to shut the door on that, and then they take a valuable, and you see how valuable Draymond is
now.
to the team.
Look at how he was back then.
Exactly,
right.
man. So
right.
that was a big, major problem. But I do.
Hey man,
I would vote.
But that's the problem when you guys allow him to. You guys want Draymond to play with that line that that he wants to kind of like blur the lines, and you want it's like you want to bring him up to the cliff. But you don't want him to actually jump off the cliff. And the problem with him a lot of times, he jumps off.
Yeah, but LeBron was a good actor, and he was one of the main driving forces in why he got suspended a game, because he was pushing for, because he knew he needed that in order for him to have a chance to win. He got his wish, but then we had other games we couldn't close it out, and we weren't able to do it because the momentum shifted, okay? But that's okay. It was a done deal. We're going to make it up this year moving forward. Golden State.
Win the championship this year?
I don't know. It's going to be close. I hope they can get it done.
Yeah. But for me, I like your answer. But for me, I disagree. I think that 2018, that last season when he was in Cleveland, and me, this is something that Derek and I talk about a lot too. It was just, it was very impressive, man, because I felt like this was the first time since
when he went back to Cleveland.
Yeah, I felt like this was the first time since his first stint in Cleveland that where he didn't have as much help. Mm-hmm. As he was accustomed to having with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, then with Kyrie and Kevin Love when he came back to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was impressive, man, that he put up MVP type numbers.
Right.
As an aging superstar in his last year with Cleveland, and got them to, was the leader of a championship or Eastern Conference championship team.
Kyrie wasn't on it that year?
No, that was the year after Kyrie had left.
No,
that was the year LeBron's final season in Cleveland. Kyrie had already was in Boston. Matter of fact, this shows you remember me. You don't remember they played Boston. You remember they played Boston that first game
oh man.
Hold on, man.
Hold on.
Gordon Hayward. No, Gordon Hayward got hurt. Remember he got hurt in that first game?
Right.
And you remember LeBron them ended up winning that game and dabbed up Kyrie.
That was that year?
That was that year.
Oh man.
Exactly. Come on, man. Give credit where it's due.
So who'd y'all beat? Y'all beat Golden State?
They lost to Golden State in the finals. That was the year that J.R. Smith did that little.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When
J.R.
ran the other direction. I remember that. Yeah.
But LeBron.
But why was that so
LeBron
impressive?
He won in that game. I'm talking about LeBron. You said why was the season impressive? Because of everything he had almost put that team. And I'm a team guy. It's not about individuals, but he had to put that team on his back.
I'll let you have that one. Go ahead.
Come on, man.
Because the East was weak back then.
Oh, here we go.
We know the East was weak.
Don't get me going on that.
That's how he got to the championship. But I'm going to leave it alone.
Don't get me started on that, because we just had a conversation about this other night. Me, you, and Kobe. Kobe almost walked away from you having that debate, because when we really went and did our research and looked at what the Eastern Conference looked like back when LeBron was there, I think that it's kind of overblown and over-exaggerated. The West was better. I'll give you that. The West was better because you know how I used to gauge it? You look at the Western Conference standings, and you look at the number of teams that have over 50 wins, and you look at the Eastern Conference standings and look at the number of teams that have over 50 wins, it was always more in the West. It was always like maybe 6 in the West.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, 5.
Except for back in the Bulls days when Mike and them.
Oh, the Eastern Conference was considered tough.
Yeah, they were pretty tough.
I get it. Listen, man. Episode 75 of Like Father, Like Son is going up on the YouTube channel for people who did not get to tune in tonight. We'll be populating some other clips coming up all through social, and we have some announcements to make for our 100th episode. But we're in episode 75. We'll be back next week.
So is the show getting ready to end?
76. No, the show's not ending. Right now, the show's about to end right now.
Well, you got to check with your sidekick to make sure it's okay so we can shut it down the right way.
I make these decisions because, kind of like talking about LeBron, I'm at the helm, you know?
Okay.
So I'm at the helm. You'll be like Kevin Love in this scenario.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take it like a man. You know,
it's Kyrie.
I'm the one that raised
Kyrie
the boy.
Play tonight.
Yeah, Brooklyn's coming on tonight, and I think it's going to be a great game. We didn't get to talk about Kyrie. That's what I wanted to talk about.
We'll go talk about Kyrie.
Kyrie, what y'all think about Kyrie? Hey, look, they're 1-1 since he's been back. I think he's.
They're not 1-1. Well, you talking about in his games he played?
Yeah, he's 1-1 and lost 1.
Yeah, and he's had 22 in both games.
You know, and of course he's looking like one of the baddest guards in the league since he's arrived. My question is, how do you think Brooklyn's going to end up at the end of the season with him playing part-time?
How to say that again?
How do you think Brooklyn's going to do with him playing part-time? Do you think they'll keep that number 1 spot?
Well,
Milwaukee has already shown that they own the Brooklyn. And I just want to see when they're finally going to get over their hump.
He might not be. I don't know if you saw the story. Well, you didn't see the story. But we didn't really talk about it in depth. He might be playing some home games sometime soon.
Oh, really?
Check this out.
Okay.
There could be a way for Kyrie Irving to play in Brooklyn, as the New York Daily News posted, and it could come in terms of fines for non-compliant citizens who don't want to follow the ordinance. The Nets could just pay the fines, right? Which went into effect. This new executive order that went into effect September 13th pretty much says that if they pay the fines, right?
He can still
he could potentially play. He could play in New York. You just had to continue to pay that fine.
How much is the fine?
I think they have to. I don't think they go above $5,000 fines.
Oh man. Well, I think that's going to work out. I got a feeling he'll be back full time soon.
Hey, look, at this particular point, if you're gonna bring him back, if you're gonna bring him back at all, you might as well. I mean, listen.
Right.
Because I still, it's going to help them. It's helping them by having him back in the lineup. That definitely helps more than it hurts. Right. But still, he's a guy that you need to have. He's a guy who he's so important to the team. He was there before. He was there before James Harden got there, and even the first year he got there, KD was hurt, so it was just him there.
Well, I must tell you.
So I just simply think that you might as well pay the fine, man, and have him play full time.
I've never seen.
They not win the championship without him.
I've never seen KD so happy. When the last time I saw KD that happy was when he was on the Golden State Warriors before the incident with Draymond. Because when the incident with Draymond occurred, he totally changed.
It was like KD's career with Golden State was like pre-Draymond incident, post-Draymond incident. Yeah, it was crazy.
But when he was just saying how much he enjoys watching Kyrie play, and I've heard him say that on a number of times.
Right.
That he just loves watching the guy play. I think what they need to do is stop watching him play and play with him. And I think maybe they can win and beat Milwaukee, because that's the one they got to beat. I'm going to tell you, that's the one that's giving them problems. So.
Hey, man, but look, man, I got to get out of here. Got some stuff to watch, man. But episode 75, Like Father, Like Son.
That's Batman for you.
We'll be back next week. So you guys stay tuned for all of our content. Check out our YouTube channel, Like Father, Like Son, as we continue to try to grow this platform, man.
Hey,
bro.
Hey, bro.
It was fun doing this in person, man.
Hey, y'all. We'll see you later.
All right. Peace.